I woke up to 255 missed calls. All from Brittany. The night before, she sat across from me at our anniversary dinner, 10 years of marriage, and humiliated me like I was just some pathetic stranger she regretted marrying. "You'll never be half the man my ex is," she screamed across the table loud enough for people to turn and stare. She tossed her hair, smirked, and leaned back like she was proud of it. Like she wanted to shatter me in public. I just kept cutting into my steak. No expression. No scene. Just a quiet chew and a long stare that made her flinch for the first time in years. What she didn't know was that I already knew. I already knew about the affair. I knew she'd been sneaking around with Travis, some muscle-brain gym trainer who couldn't spell commitment if it was tattooed on his abs. I knew about the motel rooms, the fake yoga sessions, the credit card charges at luxury spas we never visited together. I'd been collecting evidence for weeks. Photos. Videos. Receipts. The dinner? That wasn't for our anniversary. It was the beginning of her collapse. After her little outburst, she expected a meltdown. Maybe tears. Yelling. A dramatic walkout. Instead, she got silence. Cold, surgical silence. I paid the bill, stood up, looked her straight in the eyes, and said, "Thanks for dinner. You'll be hearing from me." Then I walked out. Left her sitting there, surrounded by strangers judging her for being a psycho in heels. She still had no idea what I'd already done. While she was playing house with Travis, I was making moves. I cleared the joint savings. Cancelled her credit cards. Shut down our shared cloud account, along with every private photo she probably forgot existed. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was the envelope I sent to Travis's wife. Yeah, he was married too. Beautiful woman named Amanda. 2 kids. She had no clue what kind of garbage her husband was sneaking around with. So I printed everything: hotel bookings, security camera stills, texts, every filthy lie Brittany ever whispered into his phone at 2 a.m. while pretending she was meditating. She got the envelope the same night I walked out of the restaurant. By the time I woke up the next morning, my phone was on fire. 255 missed calls. A string of texts. Voice notes. Even video messages of her crying on the bathroom floor like she was suddenly the victim. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt everything all at once: betrayal, disgust, relief, rage, clarity. That's what betrayal does. It sharpens you. Peels back the layers until there's no confusion left. Just the truth. And the truth was, I'd spent years sleeping next to a ticking bomb wearing mascara. So I stood up. Walked to the mirror. Looked at myself. No more excuses. No more second chances. Brittany made a choice. And now she was going to learn what happens when a man who's been pushed too far, finally pushes back. This wasn't the end. This was the spark. The strange thing about betrayal is that it rarely starts with something obvious. It's subtle. A shift in tone. A glance that lingers too long on her phone. A giggle at a text she doesn't want to explain. That's how it began with Brittany. Little things. She stopped wearing her wedding ring. First, it was too tight. Then, it was, I forgot. Eventually, she just didn't mention it anymore. I remember the first time I noticed she had perfume on, but only when she came back home, never when she left. And always that same excuse: yoga class ran late, her phone died, traffic was awful. I wanted to believe her. God knows I tried. But the worst lie wasn't what she told me. It was how convincingly she told it, smiling, warm, full of fake concern. Like she'd rehearsed it. Like she enjoyed watching me try to piece together a story that didn't exist. Then came the shift. She started comparing me to other men. At first jokingly. You should hit the gym like Travis, you'd look hot with arms like his. Or, Travis always takes his wife on surprise trips. Maybe take notes? Each time it stung, but I laughed it off. But I wasn't laughing when I found the hotel receipt tucked inside her purse. It wasn't even well hidden. Just sitting there between her wallet and a half-used lipstick, a receipt for a suite at the Parkside Hotel. The date matched a day she claimed she had a wellness retreat with her yoga group. I stared at it for a long time. My hands trembled. My ears rang. My brain went numb. That was the moment. That was when denial died. I didn't confront her. Not right away. I wanted to be sure. I needed to be cold, calculating, prepared. So I played dumb. I told her I was proud of how hard she was working on her health. I even offered to drop her off at her next session. She declined. Of course, she did. That night, while she was stretching her chakras, I followed her. Rented a car. Dark windows. Parked across from the Parkside Hotel. I waited. And then I saw it. Her. Wearing that tight red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary 2 years ago. Hair curled. Heels high. Smiling like a teenager. And hanging off her arm, Travis. Shirt unbuttoned. Arrogant strut. The kind of guy who only looks in mirrors long enough to check if his abs are still visible. They kissed. Not a goodbye kiss. Not a see you later peck. It was long. Deep. The kind of kiss that said, this isn't new. I took pictures. Lots of them. When she came home later that night, she smelled like wine and betrayal. She climbed into bed and gave me a peck on the cheek like she hadn't just given herself to another man a few hours earlier. I'm tired, she said, curling under the blanket. It was a good class. Yeah, I replied. You must have worked up a sweat. She giggled. You have no idea. And in that moment, something inside me broke. Not just the marriage. Not just the trust. The version of me who forgave easily, died. I laid there in the dark, watching the ceiling, while she slept beside me, oblivious. She had no idea I'd seen it all. No clue I had the proof. No warning that I'd already called Chuck, the private investigator, to dig deeper. The next day, I started building my case. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. And I sure as hell wasn't going to beg. I was going to destroy her, quietly, precisely, permanently. You don't destroy someone like Brittany with rage. Rage is noisy. Predictable. Temporary. No, people like her, they expect rage. They're used to chaos because they feed on it. What they don't expect is silence. Planning. Cold, methodical moves without a hint of emotion. That's what unnerves them. That's what breaks them. The morning after I confirmed the affair, I poured her coffee. Extra sugar, just the way she liked it. She came downstairs wearing one of my shirts like she used to when we were happy, before lies took over our bedroom. Morning, babe, she said like nothing was wrong. Morning, I replied, sliding her the cup. She smiled. Kissed me on the cheek again. You're sweet. And that's when I realized, she didn't love me. She loved what I provided. The house. The comfort. The illusion. I was her safety net while she played dress-up in someone else's bed. The second I stopped being useful, she'd cut the rope and vanish. So I moved first. That day, I set up a secret bank account in my name only. I slowly began transferring funds, nothing massive, just enough at a time not to raise alarms. I logged out of all shared streaming services, turned off shared location settings, and unlinked our devices. You'd be shocked how connected people are when they stop to look. Then I met with my lawyer, Rachel Owens. Sharp, relentless, and not one for sympathy. I handed her the photos, the hotel receipts, the phone logs, the screenshots of her messages that Chuck pulled from a cloud sync Brittany forgot was active. She's sloppy, Rachel said, flipping through the file. That's good. Makes my job easier. She's also a sociopath, I muttered. Rachel raised an eyebrow. Then let's treat her like one. I loved that energy. While all this was happening, Brittany continued playing the doting wife. She kissed me goodbye. Texted, "I love you," during her breaks. Cooked dinner some nights like we were still building a life together. Meanwhile, she was sneaking in gym sessions with Travis, checking into hotels, and sending flirty selfies while I sat across the room pretending not to know. But I knew everything. I tracked it all. And I smiled through it. Because I was planting mines beneath her perfect little world. One night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed. I'd already disabled Face ID and changed her backup pin using a trick Chuck taught me. 4 digits, her birthday in reverse. It worked. The message? From Travis. "Can't wait for this weekend. Bring that red set again. You were fire last time." I took a screenshot. Sent it to myself. Then deleted the original text. It wasn't even the message that hit me, it was the time stamp. 10 minutes after she'd kissed me goodnight. 10. Damn. Minutes. And she said I was the boring one. That I'd changed. That I wasn't fun anymore. No. I just wasn't a human jungle gym like Travis, and I didn't let her pretend she was 22 and wild. I gave her a life. A name. Stability. And she gave me lies in return. That weekend, she said she was going to a wellness retreat again. I kissed her forehead and told her to find her peace. She giggled and said she'd meditate for both of us. While she packed lingerie and lies into her overnight bag, I packed my final moves. Because the moment she walked out the door, I activated everything. The emails to Travis's wife. The Dropbox link sent to her parents. The legal motion prepared to freeze our joint assets. The letter to her job's ethics board. And finally, the change of locks and security cameras. By the time she came back, sweaty and sore from whatever stretching she'd done, everything would be gone. Her reputation. Her comfort. Her carefully crafted lies. And all she'd be left with was regret. The sound of the front door clicking shut was the loudest silence I've ever heard. She was gone. Not gone like stepping out to get groceries. No. Gone like sneaking off to her weekend getaway with her biceps on legs boyfriend, armed with a bag full of lace and betrayal. As soon as the lock turned, I got to work. The plan was already written down, organized, and time-stamped. No hesitation. No second guessing. I started with the house. My house. We bought it together, yes, but it was my name on the title, my inheritance that paid the down payment, and my family's land it was built on. Brittany contributed just enough to call it ours, but not enough to keep it when it mattered. So I changed the locks. Every door. Every window sensor. I updated the security cameras to send real-time alerts straight to my phone. I activated facial recognition and geofence alerts, meaning if she even stepped onto the front lawn, I'd know. Then I took down every photo of us from the walls. The wedding photos. The trip to Greece. The Christmas shots by the fireplace. All gone. Replaced by framed landscapes, abstract art, and, honestly, empty spaces that felt cleaner than our memories ever did. I boxed everything she owned, shoes, dresses, makeup, her endless collection of overpriced skin serums, and left the boxes neatly stacked in the garage. I didn't toss anything. I wasn't petty. But I did label the final box, "What you left behind." Next up? Her digital footprint. She thought she was slick, syncing her phone to my laptop for backups. What she didn't know was that her iCloud still pinged to an old device of mine tucked away in a drawer. Thanks to that, I had full access to her messages, photos, and calendar. Every reservation. Every text to Travis. Every voice memo where she laughed about how clueless I was. I forwarded it all to a secure folder and then sent a copy, unmarked, anonymous, to Travis's wife. Her name's Amanda. And if there's anyone in this world who deserved the truth more than me, it was her. I didn't include a message. Just a subject line. Your husband and mine. Proof. 30 minutes later, I got a reply. One word, thank you. And that's when I knew it had begun. Around noon, I walked into Brittany's walk-in closet and pulled down the gift box I'd been hiding for months. It was supposed to be her anniversary present. A custom necklace, inscribed with our daughter's initials and her birthstone in the middle. The kind of gift that says, I still believe in us. I opened it. Closed it. Then threw it in the trash. She didn't deserve the memory, let alone the metal. Later that evening, I scheduled the email blast. One to Brittany's employer's HR department with attachments showing she'd been using company time, and sometimes company cards, for her wellness retreats. One to her parents with an apology that they'd have to see their daughter's true colors this way. And one final email, set to autosend Sunday night. To her. In it were links. Screenshots. Copies of divorce papers already filed. A list of her belongings in the garage. And a single line of text. Your ex may be half the man I am, but I only needed a quarter of your lies to end this. By 9 p.m., I had a glass of bourbon in my hand and a silence in the house that finally felt peaceful. She was still gone. Still laughing. Still lying. Still thinking she'd come home to her familiar kingdom, where I'd be waiting. But what she didn't know was that home didn't exist for her anymore. And neither did I. Brittany came back Sunday evening. I heard the car pull into the driveway, her usual half-assed parking job, front wheels angled like she was in a hurry to leave again. I sat in the living room, lights off, sipping another glass of bourbon while the new security system pinged, unrecognized face at front door. She rang the bell twice. Knocked. Then banged her fist against the wood. Open the door, Liam. Her voice had that edge, frustration mixed with confusion. She tried her key next. Of course, it didn't work. I watched her through the peephole as she stepped back, stared at the lock, and pulled out her phone. Seconds later, it rang. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. 10 times. Then came the texts. Why is the door locked? What the hell is going on? Is this some kind of joke? I waited. Let her sweat. Let her panic crawl under her skin. Then I opened the door, not all the way. Just enough for her to see my face. Calm. Focused. Not broken. Not even angry. Just, done. Where's my stuff? She snapped, trying to push past me. I didn't move. Garage. What do you mean garage? Let me in. No, I said, voice even. This isn't your home anymore. She blinked. Laughed, this fake, high-pitched laugh she always used when she thought she could charm her way out of trouble. Liam, what the hell are you talking about? Is this about the fight we had? Don't be dramatic. Fight? She thought this was about the anniversary dinner? I reached into my back pocket and handed her a manila envelope. Inside? Printed screenshots of her texts to Travis. Hotel bookings. Selfies she'd sent him while I was asleep in our bed. A copy of the divorce papers. She flipped through it quickly, eyes darting, that smug smile fading like makeup in the rain. You went through my stuff, she hissed. No, I said. You left it everywhere. You just didn't think I'd look. She tried to shift gears. You're overreacting. It wasn't serious. I cut her off. You told him you loved him, Brittany. Silence. You said you found what was missing with him. You said I was a dead weight. You told him you were staying with me until you could bleed the bank accounts dry. That one hit. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. I leaned against the doorframe, still calm. The accounts are frozen. Your access is gone. The house stays with me. Your job. Might want to check your email tomorrow. HR's going to love the photos. Her jaw clenched. You bastard. No, Brittany, I said, stepping back and starting to close the door. You don't get to call me that anymore. She lunged forward, trying to block the door with her foot. You can't do this to me, she yelled. I looked her dead in the eyes. You already did it to yourself. And then I closed the door. The screaming outside went on for 15 minutes. Insults. Threats. Begging. Then silence. I peeked out the window and watched her drive off, spinning tires like she was trying to erase the humiliation with speed. But that was just the beginning. Later that night, Amanda, Travis's wife, texted me again. He's gone. Took his crap and left. I'm filing tomorrow. Thank you. One lie exposed 2 lives. One snake decapitated 2 others. I poured myself another drink. The house felt bigger. Quieter. Like it was breathing for the first time in years. And while Brittany's world crumbled, I slept like a man finally free. You'd think after a confrontation like that, the worst would be over. But betrayal doesn't stop bleeding just because you've stitched up the wound. It keeps pulsing underneath the skin. Waiting. Reminding you. The morning after Brittany's meltdown at the front door, I woke up not to her voice or perfume or fake morning giggles, but to silence. And for the first time in years, it felt right. The sun came in through the windows without being blocked by lies, and the air in the house didn't reek of deceit. Still, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. She had texted me 47 times overnight. Everything from, "We need to talk. You misunderstood everything. I still love you, Liam." 2. You're a FNG coward. You think you're better than me now? Travis was a mistake. But you're no saint either. Funny how the tone flips so fast when the consequences land. The desperation, the guilt, the rage, it all hit her the moment she realized the game was over and she had lost. And lost big. The divorce papers were served the next day at her office. According to Chuck, who I had keeping eyes on her just in case she pulled anything dumb, she tore them up in front of her assistant, screamed something about being set up, and locked herself in the bathroom for an hour. She texted me again that night. You're doing this to punish me. You think this makes you the bigger man? I didn't reply. Because it wasn't about being the bigger man. It was about survival. About dignity. About finally choosing myself after 10 years of putting a viper on a pedestal and calling her wife. And honestly, I was tired of explaining to someone who chose betrayal over love. A few days later, Amanda, Travis's now ex-wife, called me. I thought you should know, she said, her voice steady. Travis tried showing up at my job yesterday. Crying. Saying he made a mistake. Let me guess, I said, he blamed Brittany. She laughed. Of course. Said she'd manipulated him. That she was obsessed. That it meant nothing. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. Sounds familiar. Amanda paused, then asked, You regret any of this? I didn't answer right away. Regret? I regretted trusting Brittany long after the signs were clear. I regretted believing that love could fix something already rotten. But exposing her? No. I said, I regret not doing it sooner. Amanda exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. Same. We ended the call without promises or drama. Just 2 people finally breathing again after drowning in someone else's poison. As for Brittany? She spiraled. First came the Instagram stories. Vague quotes about betrayal, false love, and starting over. Then the dramatic haircut. Then the breakup post about choosing herself. Standard narcissist protocol. But people weren't buying it. The truth had leaked, whispers through mutual friends, colleagues, even family. Screenshots spread. Conversations shared. Travis's wife wasn't quiet either, and I didn't blame her. Brittany went from curated housewife fantasy to public scandal in under a week. And me? I was rebuilding. I returned to the gym. Slept better. Ate without feeling tension in the air. I even started writing again, something I hadn't done in years. Stories. Thoughts. Clarity through chaos. It wasn't easy. Some nights, the weight of what she did still hit me like a punch to the chest. Not because I wanted her back. But because it still hurt that someone I gave everything to chose to spit on it, light it on fire, and dance in the ashes. But every morning I woke up alone was a morning I didn't wake up next to a lie. That was healing. And it wasn't over yet. A week passed. Then another. And with every day that Brittany didn't exist in my space, I could feel the grip of her lies loosening from around my neck. But freedom has a strange flavor when it comes after betrayal. It's sweet, sure. But there's a bitterness that sticks to the tongue. That bitterness showed up again one Thursday morning when Chuck texted me a photo. Brittany standing outside the gym. Crying. Alone. No Travis. No friends. No family. Just her and the fallout she never saw coming. She'd been officially suspended from work. HR had opened an ethics investigation based on the documents I sent. And Amanda? She had dragged Travis through hell. Apparently, the man went from gym king to couch crasher in a matter of days. His sponsorships gone, his gym memberships revoked, and his car? Amanda's name was on the title. Poetic. Brittany tried to do damage control, of course. Called my mom, who always adored her. She sobbed about how everything got twisted and how I was trying to ruin her life out of spite. My mom's response? Sweetheart, Liam isn't ruining your life. He's just finally letting you live in it without him. Yeah. That one hit her hard. She didn't call again. A few nights later, I was cooking dinner, real dinner, not the frozen crap Brittany used to toss into the oven while pretending she'd been slaving over it. I had music playing, glass of wine in hand, feeling human again, when I heard a knock at the door. And I knew. I walked to the door slowly, took a deep breath, and opened it. There she was. No makeup. Hair tied back. Hoodie. No jewelry. Nothing polished or perfect. Just Brittany. Raw. Bruised by consequence. Can we talk? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. No, I said calmly. You had 10 years to talk. Now you can listen. She blinked. Liam, I know I hurt you. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me, making it clear she wasn't stepping back into my house, or my life. You didn't just hurt me, Brittany. You humiliated me. You used me. And you threw away everything we built for a sweaty fling with a man who couldn't even keep his own marriage together. Tears welled in her eyes. It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to go that far. No. You meant every second of it, I replied, voice sharper now. You planned it. You lied about it. You laughed behind my back. You called me a loser in your texts. You called him your soulmate. So don't you dare stand here now and act like it was a slip. She looked down. Guilty. But it was too late for that face. Do you want me to beg? She whispered. Is that what this is? I almost laughed. No. I want you to walk away and remember what you lost. She reached into her pocket and handed me a necklace. The one I had thrown away, somehow she'd fished it from the trash. I don't want this, she said. I don't deserve it. I took it. Not because I forgave her. But because I wanted to keep it as a reminder. Of what not to accept ever again. She turned and left without another word. I watched her walk down the path, slow, like she was expecting me to call her back. I didn't. Because some people don't need closure. They need distance. And that's exactly what I gave her. As she disappeared around the corner, I felt it, real peace. Not relief. Not distraction. But actual peace. The kind that only comes after you burn the bridge and know you'll never look back. It's strange how quiet the world becomes when you finally let go of the noise you thought was love. 2 months had passed since Brittany stood on my porch and begged for forgiveness she never earned. 2 months since she handed me that necklace like it meant something now that everything was ash. 2 months of silence. Peace. Rebuilding. I wasn't bitter anymore. No, bitterness is a cage. I'd lived in it long enough, questioning myself, trying to twist her chaos into meaning. But once the fire burns out, you see clearly. And what I saw was a man finally free from a life built on illusions. The divorce finalized last Friday. Quick. Clean. My lawyer, Rachel, called it one of the most efficient closures she'd ever seen. I kept the house. The accounts. The cars. She walked away with nothing but her last name, and even that, I told her, was hers to ruin now. Travis? He vanished. Amanda gutted him in court and took everything he cared about: kids, home, dignity. Word is he's living out of his cousin's basement somewhere in Ohio. Brittany's Instagram hasn't been active in weeks. No selfies. No quotes. No thirst traps in hotel mirrors. Just a black profile picture and a bio that now reads, "Rebuilding." Cute. I didn't stalk. I didn't check in. But people talk, and honestly, I didn't even care what the rumor mill spit out anymore. I was busy living. I went back to my old passions. Picked up the guitar again. Started running in the mornings, no longer worried about texting Brittany updates about my schedule so she wouldn't accuse me of acting distant. I took a solo trip to the mountains. No explanations. No guilt. Just fresh air and a backpack filled with clarity. And for the first time in a decade, I slept through the night without wondering who was lying beside me. But here's what I learned, the lesson I'd give to every man who finds himself in the fire I just walked through. Love is not supposed to confuse you. It's not supposed to feel like a game you're always losing. It's not supposed to keep you guessing if you're enough. If you're constantly being made to feel less than, like your loyalty is boring and your honesty is weakness, you're not in love. You're in a trap. And the person who put you there doesn't deserve your pain, let alone your forgiveness. Brittany didn't just cheat on me with her body, she cheated on me with her words, her promises, her laughter at my expense. And for years, I thought if I just loved harder, she'd see me. But people like her? They see. They just don't care. So to the next guy reading this, watching this, whatever, hear me. If she makes you feel like you're lucky to have her while she's out entertaining backup plans, leave. If she weaponizes your loyalty against you, leave. If she yells, "You'll never be half the man my ex is," at your anniversary dinner, you should have been gone already. I wasted a decade. But I got my life back. And that's more than a lot of men get. I stood at the edge of self-destruction, and instead of falling, I built a road back. Brick by brick. Day by day. Not for revenge. Not to prove anything to her. But to become the man I forgot I was while loving someone who didn't love me back. And now? I don't look back. I don't need closure. Because I became it.